Carpooling with Ben. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I have a very special guest, a gentleman who has built his business here in the 401, but really works practically the entire world, really. I mean, you're a worldwide sensation. Well, maybe just a number of states, depending on
travel.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so
how much vacation time I can get in.
well, you got to talk to your boss on that one. But from Shamrock Financial, it's Dean Harrington, sir.
Ben, it's great to be here.
It's great to have you in the car. Shamrock Financial, you started this in the 80s, correct?
1989.
That was a good year.
It was.
You were 10 years old.
Yeah, I was. I just graduated elementary school.
Right. Yeah. No.
Well, graduate is I got an elementary school GED.
Right. You could color in the lines. It was good. It was good stuff. But you've really built this. And tell me about the story of Shamrock.
It started in '89, but what happened was I was working in a partnership with two other guys and a partner down here, and they were older than me, Ben, and it looked like they were going to retire. So what I did is I incorporated Shamrock Financial and I licensed it with no intention of using it until they retired.
Yeah.
But as luck would have it, the state of Rhode Island sent my license to the other address.
Oops.
And I got a visit from my partners up there, and they fired me on the spot and said, we're going to invoke a non-compete agreement against you for the next 18 months. And so I cried and I pouted, and no, I didn't do that. I said, no, this is the lot that I've been given, and this is God's plan for me. So I spent the next 18 months frozen out of the industry, humbled.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of other interesting things, working for temp agencies and jumping around selling teddy bears online. I was not online, on the phone.
Right.
Online wasn't around then. Al Gore hadn't invented it yet.
Yeah. Thank you, Al Gore, for your contributions to our internet.
Yes. So that's how it got started. And then I came out of the non-compete agreement full of, vigor. We'll use the word vigor.
I like it. It's good use. Good use of the term.
I've been blessed ever since.
That's awesome. And now, so you guys, people, don't necessarily call you to buy a house. When they have the house, they call you to pay for the house.
Yes, sometimes. We do mainly purchase loans now, so most of our referral channel is to real estate professionals.
Okay.
So what will happen is we'll build those relationships with realtors. They know that we're going to execute and get the job done. So when they have someone that comes in and looks at a house, they'll say, hey, or they've hired to go look at houses with somebody, they'll say, hey, look, use Shamrock Financial. They'll do a good job. They've been around a long time. Mortgages are all they do, so they're not distracted by any other things. And they've been through 1991, 1997, 2001, and 2007 and 8, which is the 4 throw up times in my career.
Yeah.
And so that's how we end up with our business. But we do some direct channel stuff where we'll reach the consumers. You
guys have a great staff as well, and you do a lot of team building and a lot of group work with your staff and giving everybody the best tools out there to really make an impact. Because let's face it, you're helping to finance the American dream there of owning a home.
Yeah, it's your culture is your brand. Mm-hmm. Let's face it. In anything you do, our brand isn't an interest rate. It's not money. It's our people, mm-hmm. and it's the way we treat them. It's our core values, which uphold them. It's kind of what we expect of one another. So I've been really fortunate to have a long-time staff. I've got a number of people that are pushing 20 years with the company.
Wow.
So you develop some teamwork there, and you develop some camaraderie and some shared vision. And the cool thing is we don't manufacture anything. We don't make anything. We don't ship anything to a foreign country.
Sure.
We only finance homes and communities. And when it sounds like a rant, but when you put somebody in a home, they pay taxes to the city.
Yeah.
That funds fire, rescue, teachers, municipal services. So we are truly a community business.
Sure.
And we get passionate about that.
Yeah.
So we're in schools and we're trying to help with different things. We're in businesses trying to help create vision and strategy because we know those will help jobs. We do a lot of stuff with other industries just to try to build the Rhode Island job market because that helps all of us. So
and let's face it, when people buy homes, they got to put furniture in. So shout out to Nick, Ron, and Pete.
You probably know this story because I probably shared it with you, but when I started in consumer finance, we did sales finance contracts for a bank I was working for, finance company actually, and Cardi's was my very first account that I had to call on.
Really?
Yeah, it really was. And I had to, it was one store, it was in Cranston. I had to go in and I had to pick up the applications from the night before because, we didn't have any internet back then.
Yep.
And look at people and say, okay, would we approve them or not approve them? That was my start in consumer finance.
Wow.
And then I would deliver the checks to Cardi's for the financing.
Okay.
For the consumers that we approved. And so my relationship with them started really, really, really early.
Wow.
On a completely different level. So when I ran into you, I was just thrilled to create some synergy with that.
Oh, we had a lot of fun. We had the various series that we did, and it was just educating consumers on hey, listen, this is how your life can improve, and this is. So let me ask you this. We're on the end of 2017. We're going into 2018. Do you do mortgages with Bitcoin, or is it? It's...
I hope not. We all don't. The liquidity issue, from an equity standpoint, and deciding where funds are going to come from, is a guessing game.
Okay.
And I just try to stay in my lane, brother.
I got you.
What I want to look at is I want to look at where rents are going.
Yeah.
What vacancies look like in rental situations. And therefore, correspondingly, what a market value forecasting look like. So we know right now that it's very hard to go rent a 1 or 2 or 3 family, 3-bedroom house,
right,
or apartment. It's brutal, and those prices keep going up, and there's not much vacancy. So we know that the corresponding answer to that is homeownership. So we know that about 61 or 62% of the country right now own homes. Mm-hmm. We know we're at our best at 67%.
Okay.
We're in real trouble when we do what we did in 2002 through 6. We got to near 70%.
Wow.
So that's all I look at. I don't make it any more complicated than that.
That's. But if a person has, questions about, whether it be the loan they're in right now, or I mean, you guys are very accessible. You're all over the internet. You're all over Facebook, and you do a great job with it, by the way. How can should people just reach out to you, or?
Of course, absolutely. We view it this way. We don't give somebody a mortgage, we manage their mortgage.
Okay.
We believe there's a responsibility to get them in a house and keep them in a house. So that wasn't the case, 15 years ago in our industry. Mm-hmm. It was, it's just everybody's trading mortgages. Yeah. We trade this mortgage for this one. So we've kind of drifted away from that. But, shamrockfinancial.com is the easiest way to reach us. We're responsive to everything on Facebook. We're very active in Facebook. We're very active in social media. Pretty much because you got to do that. And another thing, it's fun.
Yeah.
It really is fun.
You guys have done a great job at embracing the fun aspect of it and keeping that attitude.
I want to be you, though. I want to be you in social media. I really do.
Get enough GoPros on your windshield of your car, and you never know. Dean, can you speak about your team and just the because I mean everybody I walked in there today to meet you over at your office over in East Providence. And I'm offered warm cookies, which is always welcome. It's just such a warm and friendly atmosphere. Talk to me about the attitude of your staff, and you got a great staff.
Yeah, we do. We have 5 core values, and that's what we expect of one another. Mm-hmm. So we hire very strongly on our core values. We don't publicize our core values. They're not a slogan. Okay. They're not for consumption. You won't see them hanging anywhere, because if they're hanging somewhere. Yeah. And you got to remind people, did you really hire the right people?
I got you.
Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be that way. No. So our core values, we don't publicize them, but we review on them. So every quarter we sit down with our people and we review them on the core values. You're a plus minus, or a minus in these 5 core values. But if I had to talk about hiring, and this is not unique to me, I didn't come up with this concept, so I don't want to trademark anybody. I don't want to trademark it as my own. We're all looking for the same thing in business. Yeah. Humble, hungry, and smart.
Okay.
That's what we're looking for. Yeah. And it's funny because we think about the word humble as not taking credit for things or not acknowledging you're good at something. No, that's lying. Yeah. Hey, Ben, you're really good at promotional stuff and you're a very engaging guy. No, I'm really not. That's lying. Humble is seeking forgiveness and sharing credit.
There you go.
So do we have that? Yeah. And you know what? That's a tough thing in today's environment. Really, really tough. You know what's funny? Millennials are a challenge for everybody employing.
So I've heard.
So you've heard. So millennials is a 4-letter word. We just haven't figured out how to spell it correctly yet.
Yeah.
But millennials actually get that
right
a little bit better than my generation
really
did. Yeah, they get the idea that you're supposed to be humble. You're supposed to share credit.
Yeah.
Some would say they shared credit too much, a trophy for everybody and all that stuff. But,
sure.
So we want humble. We want hungry. Hungry is drive.
Yeah.
I look at it this way that, from 9 to 5, if you're working at Shamrock, that's a transaction. Mm-hmm. I pay you for those hours.
Sure.
You give the company those hours. So it's a transaction. But I challenge people in the company, where do you build your career?
Yeah.
We're a transaction here. It's a job.
Right.
But I want to see your career grow.
Sure.
So what are you doing after hours, either before, in the morning, or at night? Not in the office, but to develop your career. Right. What are you reading? What are you doing? Who are you associating with? So that's drive. When somebody's executing that, that's humble, hungry. That's the hunger part. And then smart is people smart. Yeah. It's not intellectual smart.
Right.
We can find those people anywhere.
Sure.
How many people say really stupid and bad things to other people in an environment? We've all seen that guy,
Just
right?
watch the news. Just watch the news. We're seeing a lot of it come out right now. You know.
Yeah, that's true. I fell into that one, didn't I?
but it's unfortunate. But you're right. It's always taking the high road and just being smart, being mindful of the situation. I mean, we're both Patriots fans. Situational awareness.
I'm not a fan.
No,
I'm a fanatic.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm the biggest Patriots fan you've ever met.
And only 120 pounds, ladies and gentlemen. But no, that's so.
All right, so we're doing this at Christmas time.
Yes.
So everybody's going to watch A Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
So Patrick Lencioni, who wrote The Ideal Team Player, really focuses on humble, hungry, smart. His example of not smart is George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay.
Because George Bailey, at a couple of times in it, says something like, "You're a horrible man," to somebody, and he says something to a teacher so bad that he gets punched in the face. Very humble guy.
Right.
Very hungry.
Yeah.
Driven.
Not smart.
Not smart. Said a bunch of stupid things. So what we try to avoid is you can't run an organization when people are not humble.
Right.
You can have some people that lack a little bit of drive and lack a little bit of smarts because those can be coached a little bit. It's hard to coach humility.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, I'm a man of strong faith, as you know.
Sure.
I post a lot of stuff transparently about my faith, and the biggest part of a Christian walk is humility.
Sure.
It
Absolutely.
is repentance, but
sure.
humility. So we're hypersensitive to it. Are you humble?
That kind of attitude, that kind of mindset, from the leadership, it certainly trickles down and it makes its way through your staff, and I think that's a huge element of why the staff there is they're looking to have a great time. They're genuinely interested in making people's lives better through the various products you offer and working with the consumer, which is great. And I mean, there's no better thing than seeing one of your customers walk away happy, and the next day they feel even better, and the next day they feel even better because you're really making an improvement truly in their life and what they can do with the rest of their life.
Can you imagine how much fun it is to as a job throw people the keys at the end of the thing and say, "That's your new house, you get to move in. Congratulations."
It must be the greatest feeling in the world.
I mean, other than delivering babies, I guess. that would...
Which can get really messy.
It can get messy. So let's go an hour after the baby's
Sure,
born.
okay. After they clean
We'll show up afterwards.
Absolutely.
It's cool, but the industry's tough because we're regulated heavily. The process is a grind for a lot of people. There's a lot of fear involved with people, Ben. They get nervous about being approved, and no one wants to be... Let's face it, how many things would we do in life if the dividing line on it was being approved?
Right.
Hey, Ben, you got to be approved to drive this car.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Ben, you got to be approved. We cast judgment on people for a living.
Sure.
That's grimy at times. So there's a lot of fear built. Our job is done best. You know when our job is done best? When we've kept them excited from contract to keys.
It's beautiful.
From the time that they entered into the purchase and sale and said, "We put an offer on this house and it got accepted." That's when their great bottle of wine comes out. That's when the big champagne comes out. And then our industry hammers them in the head for the next 45 days. Our job is to make sure that they don't feel that fear.
That's great.
And you can't do that if you don't have a staff that's built around knowing that.
Right.
Because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Well, you do a great job at communicating those points to your staff, and the staff does a great job at passing it down. So if people want to learn more, if people have questions, feel free to reach out to any of your team, and you could reach out right through Facebook. They'll get right back to you. They do a great job with
we
that.
play on Facebook all day long, so we should be right on top of it.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful thing. But Dean, thanks so much for joining me. And folks, if you go onto the Shamrock page, also find him on LinkedIn. You can find Shamrock on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And I'll have to talk to Shalimar. I wonder if you guys are still on MySpace. That was like No, we're talking
Well,
like
to
early
Bill
2000s.
Belichick, we're on my face.
Absolutely. Insta Snap, I
Yeah,
think, was his last.
Insta-Snap is what
Insta
it
Snap is his last one. So,
That's
Dean,
beautiful.
happy holidays, Merry Christmas,
I love you,
and
brother.
Happy
It's a lot
Hanukkah,
of
and all the great time. And here's to a wonderful, successful 2018.
Amen to that.
All right.
Thank you.